Hello, it's great to have you here in London.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
My first question will be Berlin has this raw electric energy where experimentation and breaking boundaries seem woven into the culture. How has living and creating in Berlin shaped your sound or artistic philosophy? Are there any memorable nights, people, or unexpected experiences in the city that changed the way you approach DJing and producing?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think that's definitely for us, Berlin has shaped our sound because we grew up in that environment, so to speak. So the way we play, the way we like to play music is very much specific to Berlin. And what I think sets Berlin apart from other places in the world is the fact that we have these long, extended sets where we don't have time pressure. You know, we play for like, it's normal for us to play 3, 4, even 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. And we're used to playing open-end sets as well, where, you know, the club closes when there's no more people or when the vibe dies down. It's not really a performance, so to speak. It's more kind of a collective journey that we create with the crowd, where we just see step by step, you know, we're gonna start really slow and then slowly tell the story track by track. I feed off of her, she feeds off of me. We both feed off of the crowd and the energy they give us. And that's not really something that you find everywhere in the world. I would say nowhere, actually. I think Berlin is probably pretty unique in that sense. And then, of course, there's also our style of music, right? Which
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't have much to add here. So the long sets definitely shaped the style how I play. Especially like when you play abroad, usually you have these performance sets. Like they usually book you for 1.5, maybe 2 hours, sometimes 3, which is great already. But if I feel in these 2 hours, I can present my tracks like it's a performance, like my favorite selection, but it's not the same storytelling as I can do in Berlin when I have these long extended sets of like 4, 6 hours. I was missing the 5 in between, 4, 5, or 6 hours. So this definitely shaped my style, and then also the environment. Like we have so many amazing musicians around us in Berlin that also really shaped my style, I guess our style together. And yeah, we get inspired there a lot.
yeah, yeah. And they break a lot of boundaries as well, these artists around us. You know, a lot of music comes from Berlin. It's not really from anywhere else. So what we hear around us was born in Berlin or in Leipzig, let's say, or in Cologne, but kind of in our music bubble. So that kind of helped us break these genre boundaries, which nobody needs anyway. I mean, up until this day, people ask us, oh, okay, so you're DJs. Oh, great. You know, what kind of style do you play? It's hard for me to say that because I never really cared about categories. And that's also very specific to Berlin. You don't really have house DJs, techno. I mean, you do, but in our bubble, it's more, you know, we like to play melodic house. We like to play down tempo. We like to play indie dance. We like to play minimal. We like to play all kinds of different styles. And that's also very specific to where we're from.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Berlin really taught us to have like unusual transitions, to just trust your own style and not follow any like genre rules, but yeah, just play it by ear and how you feel like it, and trust your gut.
Great, thank you. And my second question is electronic music is often enriched by diverse influences outside the genre. Are there any non electronic genres or artists that have left a strong mark on your creative journey? Are there also any unexpected genres or artists outside of electronic music that inspire your sound or approach?
Yeah, so first off to say, I guess, is we're huge Billie Eilish fans. So Billie Eilish is a huge influence for us musically, and so much that we also created an edit this year that we played a lot and also played yesterday in London. Was actually a pretty nice reaction last night.
Yeah,
by the way. I could tell like people knew it already, so it's really warmed my heart. And besides from that, I loved like old school hip hop a lot. Loved to listen to like Mos Def, Talib Kweli, also some R&B, Erykah Badu, and then like in my early 20s, I also listened a lot to like indie music. But yeah, definitely have like some down tempo hip hop background that maybe also shaped my down tempo style afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, actually. I think maybe our love for hip hop also kind of allowed us to be open to slower kind of music and to appreciate, the silence in between, so to speak. And hip hop is really it's a lot about the beats as well and the samples that you use, and of course also the lyricism. But I think to circle back to your question, how it influenced our style, for me personally, I really enjoy soulful music. So when I was growing up, my mother used to listen to divas in the car. She used to listen to like Whitney Houston, who I love, or like Lauryn Hill, all these like Mariah Carey, these divas with like strong voices. So I really grew up appreciating drama and appreciating emotion. And that I think also led me to later on become really obsessed with Lauryn Hill. I love everything she's ever done, have everything she's put out on vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
And then at some point, I discovered Nicolas Jarre. And I remember specifically hearing his music and thinking, wow, this is the music I've kind of been looking for, but that I never knew existed. Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of like he made music that I didn't know I wanted. And I recognized it when I heard it. And it was so unusual and so melancholic and at the same time groovy and at the same time new. It wasn't like anything else I'd ever heard before. And I'm really happy that my background and my mother specifically and my family, like that whole upbringing in this household full of music kind of allowed me to appreciate the darkness in a way. And till this day, I think you can hear it in our sets. Like, we love to make people dance, but we love to dance somewhere on the border between melancholy and whatever is the opposite of that. So something between uplifting and melancholy, between dark and sexy, like this. It's kind of like a tightrope walk. And I think you can also hear it in our sets as well. Like when we play, you will never hear us play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bangers after each other. That never happens.
Yeah, we don't like to play like in your face, but have it subtle and really tell a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go up, but then we go back down.
Yeah.
And so I think our favorite kind of music that influenced us helped us to create this kind of style or identify a style that we like.
Great, thank you. And my next question is, you recently returned from a US tour. Did you notice any differences in how American audiences respond to your music compared to Berlin or Europe? Were there any unexpected connections or reactions that surprised you?
So in general, usually when we play in the US, we play very short sets. I already mentioned it before, but this is definitely different to like our sets in Germany, especially in Berlin. So there we often play like 1.5 hour sets, which is way too short for us. And it was like everything was fun. And this time we were lucky and had like a little longer play times for all these 4 shows we played. And first off, like very surprisingly, we played in Nevada City. It's actually a small city of, I think they have only like 3,000 inhabitants. And we didn't really know like what to expect. Like, is there a party scene if there's like so little population, you know? And there was such a vibe. It was like so surprising and cool. Everyone was vibing and so open to our music. So this really surprised me. Yeah. And what also surprised me was Miami. So we played for the first time at the club called Do Not Sit on the Furniture. And first off, like amazing sound. It's a proper club. We often play like in venues in the US that have like suboptimal sound quality. Like we play often in warehouses where it's not so easy to have like a really, really nice club sound. But I Do Not Sit, they could provide that amazing sound. The DJ before us played very vibey, deep and slow. And I really enjoyed that we could transition from his music to ours in a very natural style. And we didn't have to adapt like from a very up-tempo music to our deep style, but it was like a very smooth transition. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, I think also...
Yeah, and surprising was also that we didn't say anything. We were just doing our thing. But all these people came up to us after the gigs in all of the cities, actually, in Nevada City, in Austin, in Phoenix. And they came up to us, and these are all new cities for us. We'd never played there before. And they were like, thank you so much for coming and playing a long set for us. You know,
Yeah.
we're not used to it. We really appreciate when you play longer sets, because in the US it's unusual. And actually, we were only playing 3 hours, or maximum, I think Phoenix we played 3.5.
Yeah.
So it's not that long for us. It's normal, you know. But it was really nice to see that the audience was appreciative of these journeys that we do. We take them on. Like, you have DJ sets then, and I'm not throwing any shade or anything. It's just different style. You know, you put your hands up in the air every track, and you do that 2 hours long, and then done. We're not really like that. We like to kind of like go places, and we like to like slowly take people with us, like come with us down our little rabbit hole, you know. And there's usually a moment where we really feel like we've broken them in a way, and then or we have them, and then we can kind of go down wherever we want to go. But for that you need time. And so it was really nice to see the crowd come up to us and be like, hey, thank you for playing these long sets. And
Yeah.
didn't feel long at all, but you know, I thought that was great. It kind of shows that there's a need for that. There's desire for that. It's not just about this consumption of entertainment,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that was really cool about
Yeah.
it, no?
Yeah, it was cool.
Awesome, thank you. And the other question is, as artists who are rapidly emerging globally, how do you maintain a balance between keeping your style authentic and evolving to stay relevant? Do you have any internal markers that tell you it's time to try something new or take creative risks?
That's a really good question, actually, because right now I think we're seeing a shift in terms of music taste and in terms of trends. And I noticed that there are a lot of artists who are moving more also in this direction for whatever reason. You know, maybe some artists really identify with this new trend, which is kind of very high energy, very high up tempo, you know, vocal heavy, edit heavy music, like music that's really, really, that doesn't really leave so much space for subtleties, I would say. And we did notice a lot of artists, not just in our niche, but you know, all over in many different industries, many different music categories, kind of shifting towards that. But to be honest, we've never really, these trends, they don't mean very much to us, because whatever happens around us, I mean, it doesn't really influence us, because we always do what we think is what we like, what we can identify with. And if there's a trend that we think is cool, we'll play that. But not because it's a trend, just because we like it. So that's always been our driving force. And on the one hand, I would say there's an advantage to that, because you stay true to your creative self. And, you know, we've never been willing at all to compromise musically for anything or anyone. But it also has negative sides, of course, because you know, when you don't go with the stream, and sometimes you swim against the stream, and that means you're even more niche than maybe we were before. So I would say that there's like positives and negatives to that, but that's not really something we can control. So, you know, the maximum we will do is we'll show up somewhere in some club or some festival or some gig, and we realize, oh, okay, people are more in this vibe here. Of course, we will adapt to the vibe of the moments, but within our music style. And I sold my soul once, very, very early in my career, many, many years ago. And I played one track because I noticed that people weren't really feeling it. They didn't really get the deep vibe. So I played one track to catch them, so to speak. And then I had to stick to that vibe the whole set. And I regretted it so much. I felt like I sold my soul in a way. Like I was, like a DJ you hire for, your business party, and I didn't feel like an artist. I felt like I really compromised, and I swore I would never do that again, and I really never have.
Yeah. Yeah, it really feels horrible. Like once you play a track, you can't stand behind, behind
no.
it. So, yeah, I think, as you said, we have our very own taste, very specific taste, and we can range. Oh, we choose a track that could fit or can transition from the set before to our vibe, but just within our range of music. And we actually, I find how we research music or how we dig music is not at all trend related, because we dig music within a release date of 20 or release range of 20 years. So sometimes we play tracks that were released 2004, and they have such a vibe now because it's something that no one plays right now. And I really love that, actually. And so with new music, I'm actually super cautious, how many plays does it have, who's playing it right now, because I don't want to repeat other DJs' music. Of course, it's not other DJs' music, but still, I want to have my very own style. And yeah, so we rather adapt just for a bit to transition to our vibe. That's probably the most we do.
That being said, we have changed a little bit our style, because at some point we realized we spent a lot of time in our careers. We both started out with playing more up-tempo kind of music, and then we both discovered down-tempo and went very low, down, tempo-wise. We spent a lot of time in that kind of niche. And at some point we realized, kind of need something. It's cool, but, we need to evolve a little bit. So we need something new, something more inspiring. Not more inspiring, but something that inspires us, something fresh. So we did change a little bit. We don't play 70 BPM tracks anymore when we only have 2-hour sets. We only do that with open-ended, sets. But
we still don't play in a vacuum, right? So
exactly, yeah.
So it really depends also what the DJ before us is playing. And sometimes when we had a year where we capped our maximum speed or BPM to 116 BPM. We were very specific. And then everyone played so much faster, and we had tracks that were amazing, but we had the feeling that they didn't come over as we wanted it to be.
Come across
as we wanted it to be. So we realized, okay, so we have to play a little faster just to adapt the vibe, and as I said, then come to the tracks we really want to play.
Recently, some clubs and events have started banning mobile phone filming during performances. Do you feel this kind of policy changes the energy of or experience on the dance floor for the artist and for the audience?
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so much better without phones on the dance floor. It's a pretty quick and precise answer. I would always prefer having no cameras, no phones on the dance floor. Of course, as we also said with the question before, we don't live in a vacuum. So there's social media, and it's also nice to have some footage from some gigs, of course. So we also appreciate some videos here and there. But I think the vibe is just so much nicer on the dance floor, when everyone feels to be in a safe space and not be recorded, and that they can just close their eyes and be in the music and in the moment.
Yeah, same. And the thing with phones is also that you're kind of watching the world through a screen, right? And I'm happiest behind the booth when I see people in the crowd with their eyes closed. Then I know, okay, I did my job. I mean, if people are just standing there with their eyes closed, or they make the lemon face, I feel like, okay, this is what I want to see. And that's when people really don't care. They're just in it. They're just enjoying it. And, if you have your phone, of course, it also means you're appreciating it. You're like, oh, I love this track. I love this moment. I want to record. And Of course, that's fine too, but having it in your hand the whole time, and that happens as well. It happens all over the world, not just actually all over. It happens all over. But I think the best example or the best way to do it is shown at a festival called Fusion. So this is our personal, it's the mother of all festivals for us. And we love this festival so much because of many reasons. One of them being you don't see anybody with phones, nobody. And it's 90,000 people and there's no phones. Once in a while, someone will take out their phone to record, but it's gone right away and then they're back, you know. It's really incredible how people are so respectful of each other, and you know, nobody wants to be filmed when maybe they're, you know, they've had a bit too many drinks or whatever, or maybe they're dancing in a way like that saying, dance like no one's watching. Dance like no one's watching and no one has their phone in their hand, you know. So I think there is a way to do it. You can use your phone, but in a non-excessive, respectful way, and still not take away from the live experience and still be present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. And my final question will be, with recent news of iconic clubs like Watergate in Berlin and Printworks in London facing closure due to the rental and lease issues, do you feel that electronic music spaces are at risk of shrinking? Or do you think these changes could drive the scene to evolve in new directions?
Yeah, it's definitely shrinking. The club scene, and there aren't too many places anymore in Berlin for our style of music, which is really sad. So to the end of the year, not only Watergate is closing, but also Wilde Renate, also an amazing club. And is it already 2 years ago that Mensch Meier closed earlier this year, and then 2 years ago Rummelsbucht closed, which was also like so important for our style, for our career, for our I don't know, like our whole scene.
So and so in Leipzig, that
So and
closed
so in
as well.
Leipzig. Yeah, so like really, there a lot more clubs closed than new venues opened. So it's definitely shrinking. I hope that it's an opportunity for a new scene somewhere, and maybe I just haven't discovered it yet. I don't know, but what gives me hope, not in Berlin, but in Leipzig, is a new venue called Ostend. So this is, really nice space where many creatives gather, not only musicians, but also other artists. And they have like a really amazing cultural program. So there's hope definitely over there. And I feel in general in Leipzig, there's still, the lease is not as high as in Berlin, that there are still like some opportunities left to open a bit more venues maybe.
Yeah, and maybe to give some context for people who are not familiar with the German scene, because we of course that's what we like to talk about because we're very familiar with it. But the reason I think also that Ostend is such a great example is that it was three guys who said, okay, we want to make a long-term cultural project with the city, for the city. And the way they've gone about it is so interesting because they've really, like, they bought the land, they really, they had to show the city what they're planning to do with the space. And even in Leipzig, which used to be, used to have very cheap rent, it's basically what Berlin used to be. And Berlin now is really expensive. You can't really pay rent there anymore. But Leipzig now, it's kind of like in this space where it's kind of emerging more and more, especially culturally. And they really made such an effort to overcome all these challenges and to petition the city and to work with the local government there in order to get their permits to build this amazing, they have these amazing plans architecturally, and it's actually a protected space. And they've been, engaging their community even before they were really allowed to do things. They were finding ways, to do legal things, and even when they still had a construction site. And so I think this is a great inspiration maybe for other collectives who think, well, what can we do? We don't have the means, or, we don't have the experience. I think if you're really passionate about something, you can make anything happen. And we've seen this time and time again, even in London, where we are now. I mean, Fabric closed for a really long time, and then now they reopened with a completely revamped, reinvigorated program and an amazing musical director who has great vision and who brought new life into this venue while still respecting the history of it. And I think it's a good example of showing how, even in changing times where things seem impossible or especially challenging, there are examples of people who have been able to, to overcome that and to really work on and like build their dream. And if you're familiar with Berlin, Holzmarkt is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Like our resident club, Kata Blau, which is also where we I like to say where we grew up. Like not as people, but as musicians, we grew up there. And Kata Blau is part of an amazing, how would I describe it even? It's a public space that incorporates art galleries. It has studios. It has the club. It has a restaurant. It has a bar. It has a kindergarten. It has all kinds of, amazing things incorporated into this public space. And they really fought for it over many, many years. I mean, it started as Bar 25, and then they had to, the city kind of kicked them out. They had to go on the other side of the river. That became Kata Holzig. They renovated this and used this big building, to do their project. Then they had to get out of there again. Then it went back again over the river. And now it's Kata Blau. And Kata Blau is now part of Holzmarkt, which is an open space. Anyone in Berlin can just walk in and be like...
Incredible political effort.
Incredible.
It took to use this public space for such a cultural room, while they could also have rented it out for huge corporate buildings.
Yeah. And that was an effort, and they, it took a lot of work on their end to convince the city also that this will be something that the entire city will be able to use and take advantage of, not just, those ravers, It's so much more than that. Culture is a huge part of Berlin's DNA, as it is in London, as it is in New York, and, and also in Austin and in Istanbul and in so many other places in the world. And I think if local governments would realize that more, they would benefit so much more from their cultural scene, rather than seeing it as something that doesn't bring so much investment or income or whatever the reasons are. And I really believe that. And so, it's scary what's happening, but also, there will be a new wave of projects, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to be.
How did you two first meet? What drew you to the idea of working together?
Maybe I tell the story because it was more...
reached out.
It was thanks to me, actually. Or more thanks to you, actually. I take it back. So I was listening to music at home one day, and then somehow I clicked on a SoundCloud set by this girl called Caleesi Kreis, and I'd never heard this name.
Back then it was even Frau Kreis, no?
Oh yeah, you were Frau Kreis back then, which means Mrs. Kreis.
Horrible
in
first
German.
DJ name. I don't know why I chose that. Anyway, yeah.
Well, now it's on camera forever, but anyway. So Frau Kreis played this set in Kata Blau, which I listened to, and I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed this set, and it was unusual, like the style, the mixing, the transitions, and I was actually listening to it more in the background. I was doing something else, but I remember thinking, wow, this was a great, great set. And, DJs are always critical, we listen to sets the way we would play them. And so I reached out to her on SoundCloud, and I told her, wow, great sets. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I would love to hear you play live someday. Are you planning to come to Berlin anytime soon? Do you have any gigs here? And she wrote me back saying, oh, what a coincidence. I'm moving to Berlin in 2 days, and I'm playing in Berlin in 4 days. I'm like, oh, perfect. So I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
So Actually, I realized later that you were playing at a party where a bunch of my friends were playing in a club that also doesn't exist anymore called Keller. And my friend Ninze from Leipzig, he was playing there. So I went to go see her play. We met, and then we became instant.
I think like even the next day we met up at Carter for the 1st of May.
Oh yeah, it was the 1st of May, the next day, which is it's Labor Day in Berlin, so it's a really big party. It's like street parades, and every club does these like nonstop parties. And so we went there together, we hung out there, and from that day on we were basically best friends. Like we found excuses to hang out with each other, you know, like, hey, you busy today, you need to, you know, go to the post office, I'll join you, you know, like random little things. And we would bond over music. And at some point you were working for a label, right?
Yeah, I was working for a label, and also did some like booking agency work, or actually I represented 1 or 2 artists for a couple of events, and at some point realized, I really enjoy that work, but I would like to choose my own roster, and also like my partner in crime to do that. And then I told Chris, like, yeah, actually, like, I really like this work, but I can't really see myself working in this label doing this booking work. Maybe, I don't know, like, maybe it could be a nice thing to do one day. But then I also said, maybe it's not realistic. But then you said, it's actually a great idea, because I want to get out of my corporate job, focus fully on music. And then we quickly founded our own booking agency, which was called Circles and Stones.
Which, by the way, many people don't know this, and maybe they're wondering where that name comes from, but her last name, Kreis, means circle, and my last name has the word Stein in it, Steinhöfe. So Circles and Stones became our booking agency. And then we basically chose a roster of 10 artists, I think, and they were our favorite artists. We just approached them and said, hey, we're starting this thing. We would love to represent you. We would love to, you know, share your music with the world. And can we be your bookers, basically? And that's how we started our first roster.
Yeah. And then, one of our artists, Robin Day, he used to curate a festival called Zu einer Zeit in Gardelegen. It's a very German title. And he reached out to both of us that he would like to book us, but only under one condition, and that we play together, that we play back to back. We're like, and then, like, we're like both like, I mean, we loved each other's music from the very beginning, but still, like, our styles were different. We're like, okay, that could be interesting, but still, I don't know, like, let's just give it a try for like 1 or 2 weeks. So we play a little bit, and then we see if we can make it happen. But he was like, no, like, it's the condition. You have to play together.
I think he only had 1 slot, that's why.
I guess.
Maybe that was the reason.
I like to remember it as a very artistic idea of his.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is how it happened. Then we played 3 or 4 hours in the morning at this festival, and it was good. It was really fun. And this is how the back-to-back started. Then we got more and more bookings as a duo, and it just happened naturally. It was actually never a very conscious decision.
Yeah.
But at some point we realized, wow, it's really I realized it inspires me to play with you. And I love this this dialogue that we have while playing. While I was like playing mainly solo, you always have the dialogue with the crowd, of course, but then also not knowing the track that that you were playing. That was just like really inspiring me and giving me new ideas to dig deeper in my collection and not repeat my sets. You know, it was really refreshing. I love that.
And sometimes this is when you play solo. I love also to play solo, but there's always like a 50-50 chance, because I'm very specific about how I play, what I play, when I play it, that I get a little bit too much in my head. And when we play back to back, it's great That's what we noticed back then as well, because it gives you an impulse. There's an unexpected element. I don't know what she's going to play.
Yeah.
Even if I maybe know the track or I've heard it before or it's familiar to me, I don't know what she's going to play. Then we have this rule that when we play back to back and we play one track, when it's my turn, it's my turn. I decide. When it's her turn, it's her turn. We can give suggestions. Sometimes we're like, I'm not really sure, like which direction we want to go. And then we'll like have a quick discussion. But in the end, even if, let's say, we agree, okay, let's go this way. If in the last second Zara decides, no, my gut instinct is telling me it's not the right way to go, that's her call. So
Yeah.
this back-to-back kind of happened very naturally and organically, and we really enjoyed it. And then at some point we had the booking agency and the back-to-back, and yeah, we decided, okay, what's kind of our next step? And that's when we transformed the booking agency into a music label.
Yeah.
To kind of take our love for curation to the next level. Because I think
it's a bit more creative too than or maybe you can't say this, but for us, like it felt like for me more natural to run a music label and curate this than like organizing the travel of the artists. So I love how it evolved.
Yeah, it was a great natural progression, and looking back now, the way everything happened was so flowy and organic. I just felt like that's kind of how it was meant to be. And even all the things, like also the booking agency, getting that experience was so important for us, because what many creatives nowadays, maybe, or actually in general, struggle with is the professional side of things. And we don't do anything else on the side. Like, this is our full-time job, and the skills we learned from that really helped us understand also, how to position ourselves and when to say no, when to say yes, how to fight also for yourself, and how to just be professional in a very, very creative industry. So yeah.
What does a typical day in your creative life look like? How do you stay inspired and keep your creativity flowing on days when you're not feeling as motivated?
Our days look different.
Yeah.
We have different rhythms, and I think we realize this at some points, that we have a different way of being productive, which is one thing, and being creative, which is another thing. So yeah, I think you prefer more.
Yeah, I'm more the morning person. So I like to wake up early, to have daylight, to be creative, and then also not having the pressure of, I don't know, like finding tracks in the middle of the night, but like have, I don't know, some routines in the morning, go outside first, like I need like 1 or 2 hours after waking up, not looking on my phone, which I should do more often. Like, sometimes break my rule, but I always feel so much better when I don't do that. And then I feel like I have the whole day to find music and be inspired. While at night, I'm just exhausted, and I feel like I don't get like so many new ideas, like where to dig for new music, and also when I produce music, I just have so much more creative input when there's daylight. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. So I'm a night owl. I love getting up early in the morning. I love the morning sun and the vibe in the morning. It makes me feel fresh and invigorated, but I feel truly creative late at night. So if there's like a set that I want to record, like a podcast, or if there's a track that I'm working on, and I don't produce so regularly, but when I do, I go into this music tunnel, and then I stay there. And then whatever happens outside, sun goes up, sun goes down, people call me, people, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just in that tunnel, and it becomes my main obsession until it's done. And like late at night, where she was saying that the pressure of digging late at night, for me, it's the lack of pressure. At night, the world dies down, I feel
it's true. There's like less
Yeah.
distraction. Sometimes it's nice too. Also,
Sometimes it's nice,
to work at night, to have like zero distraction, no one's reaching out to you, and it's just you and this tunnel. Yeah, totally agree with that. Yeah, sometimes.
So maybe to rephrase my answer, like I think a typical day would kind of like start like Zara's day. So like get up and do my emails and have a call with our agency and figure out flights and do finances and bills and things like that. Get all of that out the way, maybe do some grocery shopping. And then after that, I like to be creative and I like to like not have an end point. So I don't like to have to go to bed, you know? So the problem with our lifestyle is that we're constantly either decompressing after a trip, somewhere we travel to, or a gig weekend, or we're preparing for the next trip. So you come back on Sunday, you're decompressing on Monday. That Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're doing all your work, you know, having your calls, buying your groceries, cleaning your apartment, seeing friends, going to the gym. And then it's Thursday and you're like, oh, damn, I forgot to be creative, which is my actual job, you know? So it sometimes feels like, you know, our life is full of catching up with life because we travel so much, because we're on tour a lot, when actually we need to remind ourselves our main job is being creative. So the actual, you know, listening to music and, oh, I like this. Oh, what producer is this? And oh, which album was that? What label? When did it come out? Like that whole rabbit hole you go down, that's our job. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves that it's not like a burden. It shouldn't be an extra task next to all the more important tasks of, you know, buying something for your fridge, which is also important, but it's kind of hard to juggle that. And we juggle it differently. And
Yeah.
I think it took us a while to understand that because we used to try and do everything together. And at some point we realized, okay, I need my time, she needs her time. And then we come together and we're like, oh, I found this new music, check it out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I think as a creative, as personality as well, I think these chores and like getting away for a while from your creative work is a good thing in a way because while you step away from things, it's good when you're coming back to your creative world. So it's like you start fresh and like it helps burnout in a way, I believe. And it also draws me to another question. This is just a little bit improvised, but it's related to your travel, and you already mentioned it, so I think it's a perfect moment to ask it. I want to connect this question with this one. So, how does this fast-paced lifestyle affect your creativity and your mental health?
It's a very good question.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I struggle sometimes being exposed to so many people in such short amount of time. So like on the weekend, like I travel. Like yesterday, sometimes we have to travel right away from the airport to the venue. We meet the event organizer. It's always nice, but it's like just a lot. You meet the event organizer, then maybe the artist care, then some people around, some friends. Then you most of the times have a backstage, but it's actually almost never private. So it's like just a lot of communication, which is basically always great. But there's like, for me, at some point, if it's just too much and I don't have the decompression, I just realized I'm a very introverted person. And I enjoy this time, but still I need what is the exact same time for myself to calm down. And if I don't have that, I can still operate. So I can do the next week, I can do the week after. But at some point I realized like the stress level just adds up. And also with the lack of sleep due to our job, it doesn't get better. So there was a point 2 years ago where I realized, okay, I reached my limit. Like this is a close call to burnout. If it, maybe it was already a burnout. There where really like my brain just shut down. I was like, I had to remove myself immediately from a larger group of people. I was like, okay, I need silence right now. I need to be on my own. I just like need a safe space. Like I just realized, okay, whoop, doesn't work for me anymore. And from this point on, it took me so much more time to recover and to be creative. Because after this point where it happened, where I realized, okay, well, I need to get out of here, I just needed silence for a couple of weeks, more or less. Like, so I played the gigs as my job, to be honest. Like, still, like, it was always pleasant. People were nice to me, but I couldn't really have the same passionate input during the week to prepare everything, and everything came organically and naturally because I just needed the time for myself to calm down, to maintain my mental health. Yeah. So I realized, like, this routine actually, like, where I realized, okay, I need to try to go, like, when I'm in Berlin, when I can, to go to bed to the same at the same time, wake up more or less at the same time, to have a stable rhythm of sleep, which I never have on the weekends, and like just some basic things that help my mental health. Also, like not looking on my phone in the morning, going outside first, like some little things that just like lower my stress level, and from there I can like be creative.
Yeah. It's a very high-paced environment that we work in.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a friend the other day, and talking to this friend made me realize how other people who don't have this job, when they travel somewhere, it's like, it's an unusual circumstance. Oh, I'm traveling. I have to fly there. I mean, okay, we also have friends who jet around the world, like they're taking a bus, but traveling really takes a lot out of you. And on top of that, we come into a new environment. If we go straight into the club, you're immediately, there's all these people there who are looking forward to meeting you, and like they booked you, so you are their responsibility, and there's a lot of very sweet, very kind attention being given, and a lot of social engagement, and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it's so much sometimes that people underestimate how much the little things matter. So having like a private backstage, sometimes it's really essential. Like, not always. Sometimes it's fine and I enjoy talking to people, but sometimes if I didn't sleep well, and that I struggle with jet lag, if I didn't sleep well and maybe, there's something else going on, or maybe there's some source of stress, I don't have the social capacity to then meet someone I don't know, and maybe they're, excited to meet me, and maybe they're a fan, or maybe not, but it's also my responsibility in a way to make sure that that person doesn't feel bad. Because if I don't want to talk to someone, that person will feel that, so you have to go beyond your own limits. And for me, and I'm a very extroverted person, I struggle sometimes with this feeling that I'm not able or not allowed to set my own boundaries, because sometimes it's hard to explain to someone, they're all excited to meet you, and then, oh, let's go for an artist dinner. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't right now. I had to explain this once to a promoter. I need to eat in the hotel. And he was so disappointed because he felt it was so impolite and so rude that I didn't make time to get to know these people who were really passionate about booking me and loved my music. This was a while ago. And I had to explain. I'm like, look, I do this 2 or 3 times a week, and I need this time for me. Like, I barely slept. I need a moment to calm down. I'm really not feeling in the mood. Like, it's nothing against you. I will show up. I'm going to play a great set, but I just need this moment for me. And that is really intense sometimes. And people don't always realize that. And you know how some people talk about, like pop stars have a bad rep. Oh, I heard, J-Lo, she only wants like one person in her dressing room and everything has to be white, and wow, what a diva. But there's a reason for that. If she's doing a gigantic world tour, I'm not comparing us with J-Lo, but just to give an example, because people don't realize DJs have maybe some, not the same struggles, but, maybe sometimes similar struggles, because we're entertainers. And of course, we're not pop stars, but now with the age of social media, people know what we look like. They know exactly who we are. We walk into a room sometimes and I don't even realize. I think, I'm kind of anonymous. but I'm actually totally not. And this lack of privacy, this expectation towards you, it weighs a lot on me. And I would say that in contrast to Zara, who's quite more an introverted person, the fact that I'm extroverted sometimes becomes my downfall, because I'm not used to being more reserved. And when I am more reserved, you can feel it 5 miles away. You can feel it. I don't need to say anything, and I don't want to talk to someone. People will not approach, and I don't want to give people that feeling, but sometimes it's really important to just be like, I don't care right now what kind of an effect I have on someone. They're going to have to deal with it, because I just can't do this right now. And just one more thing that I'm just thinking about while I was speaking was another thing I think that is a really heavy influence on the mental health of entertainers nowadays. Because of this social media thing, I admit that sometimes I compare myself with other artists and I think, damn, this person or this act, they're amazing on social media. What amazing content, so interesting to follow them. And we're very private people. So we love to talk about, our music and our interests, and, we like to document and where we travel to, but we're not content creators at all. Like, we're really not.
Doesn't come natural, yeah.
At all. Like we had to learn to use Instagram, and we had to really learn that every week we have to make several posts and keep it interesting, keep it engaging, because that is our job. It belongs to our job. There's no PR agency doing this for us. We are the ones who do it. And it took us a while to realize that not just our music, but our personality, our person, our persona, that's the right word, is also in a way the product. And so because we grew up musically in Berlin, we like to let our music speak for itself. It's very unnatural to talk about ourselves and to promote ourselves. So what we're doing today is it's the first time we're kind of doing this. And I personally am really enjoying it, because it's really, really profound and insightful. And it's really good to kind of talk about these things, but it's a new thing for us. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I think we struggle with, that we're learning step by step with time, but it's not always easy. Yeah.
What's the most important lesson you have learned about the creative process and working together over time?
So for the preparation, I think the main thing was that we respect our daily routines that we learned over the last years. So I prepare my music like on daytimes on my own. Clarissa prepares her music, and like she makes. So we dig for the music alone or by ourselves, and then we meet up and then we show each other's music and get some feedback. And also, like, sometimes I find, like, if I present a track to Clarissa, I see it also from another perspective, and then I can definitely tell if I really like it or not. Like, without your opinion being said, or like your facial expression, I could just realize, like, oh, now that I show it to you, I realize, oh, this track is amazing. This one is out. And so I think this one is one of the main things we learned, and also how we communicate during our set. I guess, like, you took some videos yesterday when we played, and you could tell, like, we sometimes appear chatty while we're playing, because sometimes we have like a proper discussion, like, okay, which direction do we want to go to now? So there are like two options I would like to play, but this one goes in that direction, this one goes rather in this direction. What should we do? So there's, like, when we play, sometimes a little team meeting.
Yeah.
I really love, yeah.
And she likes to announce it as well. She'll come up and be like, okay, team meeting. I'm like, oh, okay, take my headphones off. All right, what's going on, But yeah, I think we also learned over time when things got more professional, because, we both started DJing as hobbies. It was a hobby. It was never really meant to be our profession, but it became our profession because it took up so much time that nothing else was really possible. And at some point, at least I was a bit in danger of losing that spark, because I had to be, in the airplane every weekend, different club, different whatever it was, and I had to deliver so regularly that it took away a little bit my excitement, and my passion, because I felt more pressure. And I think the way I've learned to deal with this pressure is, first of all, to always remind myself that the crowd I'm playing for has not heard my tracks as often as I've heard them, even if I've been playing them 2-3 weeks in a row, of course with new tracks in between, but there's only so many good tracks. And even if you dig every day, you're never going to find an endless amount of really good quality tracks that you can stand behind 100%. So you're always going to play some of your evergreens, some of your favorites, some of the songs that have been with you for years, along with the new ones. But sometimes I feel like, oh no, I can't play this anymore. I've played it too many times. The crowd has heard it too many times. Or maybe social media has posted this video of this song too many times, because it's always the one that people like the most, or the one where people get all geared up. So I feel like, because I'm almost over it, I've heard it too many times, that everyone else is over it as well. But that's mostly not true. And there are some diehard fans who have listened to every single set that we've ever played. And of course, it's always hard playing for those people. It's a pleasure, but always like, it's like a challenge, because, they really know your whole collection. So you want to give them something new. But 99% of the crowd, they haven't heard you play live in 6 months, a year, ever, So I have to break out of this feeling that I'm not delivering a new, or the fact that I'm failing because I'm not delivering a completely new set every week. And that's something I really had to learn, and I still struggle with.
It's also a question of like, how would you define a new set? Because you don't play the tracks ever in the same
Order.
In the same order.
Yeah.
It's always like it comes in the moment, and how you react to the people. So I mean, yeah. I guess
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, obviously we're not going to play 30 completely new tracks every week.
Yeah.
That's just not possible. I mean, if there was that much good music, you wouldn't need DJs. You would just play the radio, But that's what we do. We curate, we dig, we select. And so we will play whatever good new music there is, or old music. But if my digging excursion came up with only one track, then that's just how it is. And I had to learn to be less demanding of myself. And another thing that I learned is also that when I dig, in that time where I was really struggling with the pressure, and I was struggling a little bit to keep up, I felt like, okay, I was like, 1 hour. Okay, I have this 1 hour. I need to go through all of the new Beatport releases, and I need to listen to all of them, and I need to find them quickly, the new tracks, the good tracks. But I didn't take time to listen to them or be inspired. And my ear, metaphorically speaking, was closed. It wasn't open. It wasn't curious. It didn't give the music a chance. And that's something we both realized, that if we are doing everyday things, I'm writing emails or whatever, I'm, doing online shopping, I have music playing in the background, and it becomes less of a chore and less of a, like a mission, and more of a, oh, I'm doing something else, and then something catches my ear, because my ear is open. It's not necessarily focused on it, but it's open, so it will catch whatever I think is good. And sometimes it's a track that I would never have been open to if I was in that mode. So it's also getting to know yourself a little bit and your own little traps. So I sabotage myself sometimes with that. And it's good to realize and observe myself and realize, like, oh, I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
I'm on this mission. My ear is closed. It's not open. And so sometimes you have to force yourself to get into that state of mind where you're creative.
Yeah, very good points. Great. So I was expecting Mitten to ask this question, but he didn't. So it was a very good opportunity for me to ask it. So here it comes.
Curious now.
What has been your experience as a woman in the electronic music industry? Have you faced any challenges?
For sure, yeah. So, I mean, when I started DJing, I was actually supported a lot by men. So yeah, someone was very close to me. He introduced me to playing with vinyl and like showed me how to DJ at first. Another DJ I really appreciated in the town where I grew up, he gifted me a bunch of vinyl to practice at home because yeah, I was studying. Vinyl are expensive, and like he had this huge collection, and just gave me like 50 vinyl just like that to practice at home. So that was amazing. So that was great. But then yeah, like the more successful I became with music, I could just feel that yeah, some men started to get envious and doubted. Oh, I don't know if this was just like an act of envy or if they actually doubted that I should be in that position. So like at first they were demanding for like that I should give slots that I never really like could give other DJs. Like, only because I was booked to a club, I couldn't like just like book other other DJs. But this was like the expectation, and so I failed in their expectation. And yeah, and then later on, also a lot of sexism happened for sure. So there we could tell like a bunch of stories. I don't know like if we should go in that detail, but like yeah, one DJ really clearly said into my eyes that he highly doubts that I get booked from my music, but for yeah,
Your looks.
for my looks. And I thought it was a joke since yeah, I mean this was such a ridiculous thing to say. Like it was like a yeah, just 100% sexist. And yeah, like this specific guy like also did like a couple more things, but yeah, I feel like in general, women in the music scene, not so now I'm not speaking only about myself, but for especially for women who are successful in their musical career, but also have like a big following on Instagram, for example. So I have the feeling, or I see a lot that men doubt that that they're successful for their music, but rather say they're only successful in their DJ career because they have this huge following and they're like just influencers, and or they just got supported by famous DJs. But it was like they all like usually doubt that it just came out of their own ability, their creativity, that it was like fairly earned. No, do you say fairly? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this like yeah, you experience that a lot, and I don't hear those thoughts ever about men actually.
Yeah. No, that doesn't really
Yeah,
happen.
this guy is just an influencer. That's why
Yeah.
he's successful. Like,
Oh, this
no.
guy, he's good looking, therefore he's a successful DJ. No
Yeah,
one ever says that. But with women, you know, we're reduced to the way we look or the fact that we're female, which I find really sad actually, because just because there's more awareness to fight more for equality and to be more aware of lineups that include female DJs as well, doesn't mean we only get booked because we're female. It's not, it's, you know, one thing doesn't automatically have that as a consequence. And while I personally do feel that there were some situations where maybe, you know, over the years, my agent has gotten requests where, oh, you know, we'd love to book Caleesi. We're doing this female-themed event for the right reasons. They were doing an event for very good reasons and good intentions that I support. But I always asked my agent to ask those people, why do they want to book me? And if the answer is, again, we're doing a female-only event, I would say no. If the answer was, oh, we loved her music that we heard her play at Club XY, or I loved the podcast she did for blah, 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 or, oh, I heard her at this festival and I thought she would be perfect for my party. Anything that had to do with my music, I'm down. But sometimes, yes, there were some events that maybe had more of that kind of focus, but I think that for men, mostly, to doubt our ability or the fact that we deserve something. And by the way, can I just say, who decides that? Who decides who deserves something?
Yeah.
Is there some moral judge, some music judge? No, it's usually some dude behind a screen who's able to troll on social media because, why are these girls getting booked for this event? Like, must be because they're women, because there's this push to be more aware. But no one decides what someone deserves or not. And I think that we got this far because of our talents and because we're really good DJs. And I'm not afraid to say that anymore. I think it's something that we had to learn on our own by just staying true to ourselves that, our gender or how we are on social media or not, or how we look or not. At the end of the day, people are going to book us because we fill the dance floor and we create a great vibe our way. And if we didn't do that well, then we wouldn't have this career today. So the challenges we face, we fight against it, not actively, but more, we just do things our way, we let the music speak for itself. And if there's any guy who comes up to me, and this has happened, by the way, someone once tried to pay me a compliment and said, oh, it's so great, you're playing here again. It was an artist care, actually. So great, you're playing here again, yeah, and yeah, you come back a lot because, you're a pretty girl and, you're nice and you have a lot of friends. And I was like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, you're so good looking and you're so friendly and yeah, you have a lot of friends in the city. And I'd be like, hey man, don't you think I was booked maybe because I'm a good DJ and because maybe the booker liked my music? And he couldn't understand it. For him, it was a compliment. And I had to explain over several interactions why that was not a compliment for me. It was an absolute insult. And this would never have come from a woman. And if it would have come from a woman, because actually women also sometimes are in a sexist state of mind, like self-sexist, if that's a thing, then, that's just incorrect. And sometimes you need to educate people and tell them, like, I got booked because of my music, and that's it.
So how did you feel about the venue? Was it your first time with ATJ? And how did the overall event for you, and how was the crowd?
The crowd was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was such an amazing vibe. It was our first time playing for A2J. And they were so welcoming. It was super cute. Everything was very well organized. The venue, it was like smaller, cozy, but it really, it created a great vibe. And it was like, everyone was really into it.
Yeah, it's always really heartwarming when there's a crowd that's so responsive and so, like encouraging and like they create the vibe themselves. And then we're just feeding off of it, and yesterday was really
having people dance on
great
the
vibe.
DJ booth.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen too often.
In the
That's
UK.
Maybe in the UK, but
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's totally normal in the UK to dance on the table, but it was great.
That was great.
And the organizers who kindly invited us from the collective A2J, they're huge music fans. And it really became apparent in the way they were promoting the events and in their communication with us and with our agents. And I feel so grateful and just really happy whenever there's a promoter that books us out of passion for music. That's always the best. And you can tell that this community loves music.
Yeah.
So
Also
it was
the curation that
great.
A2J does, like also the prior events,
Yeah.
were really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so more of that, please.
We can't wait for the other one, to be honest, like having you in the city, and hopefully next time I will have more time to enjoy and less work. So I can just
Hopefully.
dedicate myself to your music and just get lost in it and have a great journey. Thanks for everything. It was wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
This
much.
conversation, hearing the questions we were having in our mind and answering all of them with your heart, and lovely. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.